Hi, it's Pete from Pete's Projects. Follow-up video to my solar-powered kayak project video. Took it up to Lake Powell. Had a great trip. I'm going to summarize the experience and what we learned. Had to cut this trip short due to some unexpected weather conditions. This is June 2023. And June is usually the hottest, driest month here in the desert Southwest. Surprisingly, we got on Lake Powell and had some stormy weather and ended up having to jump off the lake after our second night. So stay tuned, going to share some lessons learned. I may also spin off a couple other videos just about Lake Powell. If you're planning on a trip to Lake Powell, the waters are very low. It's an interesting time to be there. And then a packing list for shoreline camping and that type of thing. So I'll include links below. If this is interesting to you, please subscribe or please follow along. I'm going to continue this, any work with the solar kayak and some other projects. Thanks. Enjoy. There's the Gruber. Got a great view for the Gruber. It's going to be a great trip. Hey, first morning on the water. I am on the lowest speed right now. Working my way up Lost Eden Canyon on Lake Powell, off of Lake Powell, not too far from Bullfrog Halls Crossing. Beautiful. Nice and quiet. One of the first things I've learned is these canyons have a lot of shade, of course, so I find myself searching for sun all the time, aiming the kayak towards sunny parts, which gives me more sun exposure, but also gives us the energy. The other thing I've noticed right off the bat is the steering back here. It's very challenging the way I have it set up. Aiming for that sun. Yay. So kind of doing some rough waters today. Came across the main channel was really choppy. Took on a little water, but just emptied it with the scupper plugs there. Gonna come around the corner here. Looks like a big breeze coming down this canyon. I'm going at slow speed right now. The wind is no fun, but it seems to be working out okay so far. I haven't flipped or anything, and don't plan on it. Blowing pretty hard. All right, so far so good. So overall, a success. Tested the kayak, worked well. I kept it rigged up the entire time we were out. Experienced a lot of waves and wind, and it held those joints that I was concerned about. Still a little concerned. I think after repeated uses like this, those would tend to fail over the long term. So I'm going to look at some other ways to reduce the torque effect on those joints. But the lessons I can take home here. Lake Powell is huge. Even though I was able to get up to 4.5, 5 miles an hour when I was all loaded up and crossing the channels and so forth, that's just not fast enough to really make some distances. Even in a speedboat, it can take hours and hours and hours to get from one canyon to another on the lake. The wind sail effect. Because of all this wind, I had a great opportunity to test it in wind, and it did well. I'm a water sports person, so I'm accustomed to rocking boats. If you aren't, maybe that would become more of an issue to you, but I felt like it was very controllable. Once the wind gusts got a little over maybe 25, 30 miles an hour, though, time to get off the water. Steering method, really, that's a major problem with the design I have. Everything, you have to reach back to operate the handle and the speed control. And I couldn't come up with a way to get it up near me and still go in a straight line. And I have a little extender that I bought, but it wasn't enough. It only got in the way of the chair that's built into the boat. So I just need to come up with a new approach to steering. I'll look at some options for that. I would also continue with the PWM device between the motor and the battery to improve efficiency on that end. My battery never dropped below about 60% on the trip, which was by design. I tried to make sure I would have enough to get somewhere far away if I needed it for emergency. So I was trying to stay at a higher charge level, but I was comfortable knowing that I could still use up the rest of that 50 because I have a lithium battery and I don't have to worry about the health of the battery by going below 50%. So the thing I learned about the way the motor pulls energy out of the battery is at the high speed, which I was only getting 4.5, 4 a lot of times, but up to 5 sometimes. I was using something like 42 amps, which is a lot. I'm pulling a lot of energy. Well, I found out that at the lower speeds, I forget which speed it was, but I was running about 2 to 2.5 miles per hour, but only using about 13 or 14 amps. So in there's a lot of opportunity to maximize battery power, I guess is what I'm saying, and that's what the PWM is about. If I had it all to do over again, I think I mentioned this previously, I'd look for a lighter panel set up. This is great if I'm going to leave it set up, but it's not so great if I want to be taking it on and off while I'm traveling and leave the panel on shore to charge while I go out and paddle, that type of thing. Just wasn't going to happen with the heavier setup. But overall, great success. Looking forward to doing it again, and I'll share any improvements I come up. If you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments. And if you want to keep following this and other projects I might do, please subscribe. Thank you.